after a certain amount of years of being married, do you ever be like, all right, you know what, Greg? Tonight you could go do whatever you want. A pass.
You know what?
Yeah, hall pass.
Greg has took passes that I didn't even give him.
so no.
I mean, at this point, if he wanted to go, I'm sure he would just go the hell on. But I like to talk open relationship.
Right.
And I have talked about that with Greg. I've said to him, if you're going to cheat, your relationship is open anyway, right? So why not call it an open marriage?
Right.
And Greg said, hell no, because I don't want nobody eating out my garden. And I was like, okay.
That's because they
might eat out your garden and you don't know about it.
That's because they can dish it, but they can't take it.
That's right. See, they don't mind stepping out, but they don't want you to do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? But if Greg wanted to go be with somebody right now, I would say go right on. Why am I going to try and keep him from doing something that he wants to do? Then I have to make a choice myself if I want to stay with him or not, right? And I probably would stay with him.
Does it make you feel like you can do what you want if he's doing what he wants?
I do what I want anyway.
Okay.
I really do.
But he just doesn't want to hear about it.
And I don't want to hear about what he's doing either. I'm in New York. He's in Georgia.
Right.
I'll leave here and go to D.C. and I'll leave there and head to the next city. And he's still out in Georgia. So whatever he's doing, I don't need to know about it. We've really had this conversation. No, I don't need to pop up. We have real conversations like this. Whatever you are doing, like at this point, if you are doing anything, just as long as I don't know about it.
Right.
Because you are really being disrespectful if I find out about it.
If I find out, other people
know. The first thing I would think a married guy need to do when he approach a woman is, I am married. I have a family, I have a wife, I have kids, and I ain't leaving. Now, what we gonna do, we just gonna be doing it now, but I ain't leaving my whole family over here.
See, I
feel like you walk into the situation, tell them what time to, yes, I'm married. I like you too.
Yeah.
I got a whole family. I ain't leaving him.
Yeah.
I'm staying with her. So just gonna say what it is. So he can go do whatever he want to do. Just don't let me know.
If you do find out, though, then what?
If I do find out, I feel like it's a conversation. I do. I don't feel like it's exit unless he really felt like, see, I really know he loves me.
Right.
So if I really felt that he didn't love me, then I'll be like, it's time for me to part. But I know he loves me. I don't believe that he would do anything at this point.
Right.
But if he did, I'd be fine. I'd pay him back, though.
I actually spoke about a previous birthday celebration on Angela Yee's Lip Service podcast, and it shut down the internet. If you know, it definitely did shut down the internet about your story with a threesome with two males. Now, people's reactions were crazy, and some people said that the threesome sounded more like a train. What do you think about some of these reactions?
Well, first, I want to say that I'm so genuinely happy that the conversation even started. If my lifestyle, broke the internet with the conversation, use me. Because once again, like I said, even for life therapy, I feel like part of my divine assignment is to make us more comfortable as a culture, as a community, talking about things. Now, I'll get to my situation, but like even on the show, fibroids. Like I learned so much about fibroids. We did an episode on fibroids, and even women with fibroids were saying, I've got girlfriends that I didn't know had them. My husband, we weren't talking about it. It's almost like all these little taboo subjects. And so I said, you know what? If my show does anything, I want to open up the conversation so that a lot of us, again, feel comfortable talking about these things, and that is therapy. So now here we go, and Angela Yee invites me, to openly talk about, sexual experiences, and that's what Lip Service is. It's a podcast about the female sexual experience, and of course, threesomes came up in the conversation, and I strategically, intentionally wanted to talk about it because I already know from life coaching, there's so many women that are thinking about a threesome with two men, that are scared to ask for it, that they don't want to talk about it. I'm talking about married women. Don't forget, I'm coaching a lot of women, a lot. And so I was shocked in talking to so many women that either they wanted the experience and never had it, or they were scared of it. And so I was like, you know what? If I can do anything, I want to basically just say to women, I don't care what it is, do you. Whatever it is that you feel like your life is missing, at least try it, talk about it, because you only get one life, number one, and tomorrow's not promised. And so what is preventing you from the trying? Is it fear? I know for me, early on, it was fear of what people would say. It was, fear of doing something that maybe someone in my life or one of the guys I was dating wouldn't approve of. And so as I matured, I started to say, well, you know what? Those monogamous relationships are not satisfying me. And I don't mean sexually. I mean mentally, spiritually. I'm adventurous. I'm an athlete. I love to travel. I like to try different foods. I speak 2 languages, French, English. There's a lot of AJ that you've got to maintain the interest of. And I just wasn't finding it. And that's what led me to even start traveling the world more. And as I did that, I started to meet not just men, but people from different cultures, people with different beliefs. And I felt more at home, believe it or not, in different cultures than I did here. And so when the threesome situation came, it wasn't even sexual. It was primarily, they were friends. We became friends as I traveled. We were hanging out, having a good time. The 2 of us, 3 of us, we were like, 3 musketeers, as I said. We were actually really friends. And the comfort of the friendship turned intimate and sensual, even in just a general intimate relationship before it became sexual. I don't see that a lot with American men. There's very little PDA. There's very little, most men are trying to run from that, you're their girl, from what I see. And that was not happening in this particular culture. And that spun into more of a romantic situation. So I felt like, honestly, when people, going back to your question, when people started saying it was a train, I was like, well, first of all, you don't even know the depths of what happened that night. I never said there was penetration. I never said, it's like that mind frame is what took over. Oh, so what you're really saying is what you know. And to me, that sounds more like you're telling on yourself more than me. You're speaking for where you are versus where I am. And so there you go. I said in the interview, it was sensual. It was intimate. It was, I felt very safe. I said all that. So that don't sound like a train to me, right? It don't sound like a train to me. But again, here's the other thing. I'm solid enough in who I am. I'm comfortable enough in who I am that small-minded judgment at all is not going to penetrate me. And maybe that's where I got to as I matured, in age and in spirit, that maybe at 30 or 40, I would have probably been offended by it. Now, what I commented back was, okay, listen, call it what you want. All I know was it was the best intimate, sensual relationship I've ever had. And if you want to call it a train, shoot. Because, shoot AF. How about that? Because, again, you don't have the experience, the worldly experience that I do if you're saying that. And I'm not saying that that's bad or good. I'm just saying it's different. And so that's where my life went to. Like I said, I'm traveling around the world. I'm meeting new people, new cultural differences. And so I felt more comfortable and safe in that, more so than I ever have in some of the monogamous, quote unquote, I say that, because a lot of times I was even commenting to people like that. Make sure the relationship you're in is as monogamous as you think it is. Because what I feel like we do here is we say we're monogamous and then we cheat. As opposed to, I'm telling you there's another man. I'm bringing him around so you can see how I am with him. Now, you don't necessarily have to be with us all the time, but that's another reason why I called it polyamorous, because it was very sensual and condoning and very intimate and safe. And there's a freedom in me just being who I was. I'm a goofball. I'm a nerd. A lot of times people want to date AJ Johnson, the celebrity, and not necessarily the dog lover who just wants to walk the beach. So when I found one guy and then 2 guys that just loved who I was, it eventually spun into more than just the friendship that we had. So I just feel like, I think it's interesting that so many people judged it. And I was commenting back because I'm not offended by the judgment. I just think it's sad that people are so judgmental.
Right. I get that 100%. Now, I think the real issue here, AJ, is...
What do you think it is? You tell me.
Between you and I, they're probably mad that they couldn't find one and you could find 2.
Well, let's talk about it. I think there's more women in relationships that they're settling. I think a lot of women probably feel like they're stuck because think about it. These American men, and I say American on purpose because I don't find this mentality as I travel the world. So I'm saying it not to generalize American men. I'm just saying I find it more often with American men where it's, if there's a threesome, it's only, me and 2 women. If it's monogamous, I'm telling you it's monogamous and I'm going to kind of do what I want. But if you cheat, it's over. It's like this whole male dominant mentality that never worked for me. And so, I started living a freedom of lifestyle first. Again, let's take the sex out of it. Let's take the threesome out of it. There's a lot of women who are in relationships because they wanted to get married early. That's not me. There's a lot of women in relationships because they had kids and they want to stay around for the sake of the family. That's not my situation. I don't even have a dog that I got to be home for at this point. So my life is so open to experience and to be free that I don't have anything holding me down like a lot of women do, or holding me or tying me to a relationship or a guy that's not really necessarily doing it for me in my life. Forget sexually, just my life. Right. Because again, I feel like in order for something to turn sexual, there's got to be friendship. There's got to be a chemistry, a friendship chemistry, right? There's got to be a romantic chemistry for me anyway, before it gets sexual. And I wasn't finding that. And I think a lot of women aren't. And that's what I'm telling brothers, you need to listen. Instead of judging me, you need to listen. And that's why a lot of comments I went back and said, ask your woman. Ask her what she thinks. Ask her. Don't be afraid of the conversation. Because while you're judging me, you may have somebody at home really wanting to do the same thing and scared to tell you. So I want you guys to start talking and opening up the conversation to be honest and real with each other. That's the real relationship. This other mess happening where you say you're monogamous and you're really not, I got tired of it. I didn't want any parts of it.
Right. And I have a lot of conversations with just a lot of different women in general. And when I tell them about what you just said, like if I do not have an emotional connection to somebody, I'm not interested in them sexually. I looked it up. It's called a demisexual.
Oh, Come on now. Help me out. Come on, man. A demisexual, see?
Yes, so you are a demisexual. If you are not spiritually, emotionally connected to a male, you do not feel any need to be sexual with them.
And can you imagine? I mean, listen, like I said, I'm coaching a lot of women. I'm talking to a lot of girlfriends. I'm talking to a lot of people, period. And even if we're not talking about relationships, I'm hearing where so many people are unhappy in their relationship because of situations like this. And, I just figure, and I even said this in the interview, at this point in my life, I'm not sure if I'm monogamous anymore. Because when I knew that I was, and I was trying to have a monogamous relationship, I was always hurt. I was always disappointed. I felt like I was always being lied to because I just wasn't in relationships that were mutually monogamous. So now I just said, okay, well, what happens if I can find peace within myself in the kind of relationship that's not going to be a lie? And listen, I didn't know it was going to break the internet.
Oh, it did. And I have to ask, because you keep bringing up different cultures, where were these guys from?
Well, let me just say this. I don't want to give too much away because I want to protect their privacy too. And we're still very close, by the way. Everybody's like, really, was it a one-time thing? It's like, well, we're still very close, very connected. They were French West Indian.
Okay.
So